Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching Does My Bank Still Love Me? My name is Rebecca Shrader, and I have the honor and privilege of speaking with Leeron Liftik. Truly is an honor, I mean it. And some questions, one particular for this segment. It should be just one segment. Then we say that quite a lot around here. The lady that I spoke with recently has tried now 5 times to get a house. Excellent credit. I'm sure she's confused a lot more than I am from hearing this story. Now, she just bought a car. Like I said, excellent credit. Just bought a car, just opened a credit card. No particular history right there, but I'm wondering, I'm sure there's many people wondering and watching too, how is it that this happens? I mean, we've had obviously major issues financially and the, nothing to laugh about, the Freddie and Fannie Mae. So you have to go these extreme measures, but maybe isn't this a little extreme? I would be so frustrated if I was this girl. And what can she do? Hello, excellent credit, but how can this happen? Does this happen a lot? Is this one particular situation?
Well, it sounds like she might be one of the people who are caught in the crossfire of, kind of a recoil effect from banks. That banks are putting more restriction on lending practices, and you got to consider that where we came from was so open with how the money was being lent. You could say open, or you could say perverse, perhaps, in the way it was required to be lent and what the parameters and guidelines and what obstacles and what restrictions existed around who could qualify to have money lent to them. And the mistakes that were made created an impact that were so substantial that it almost collapsed the U.S. economy. And so when you swing out and you absorb a lot of risk, and then you find out that things didn't work out so hot, and it's kind of didn't work out so hot in a major way, so much so that the impact is like, hey, we might have bankrupted the entire U.S. economy. Where you're left with is going to be more likely to be too conservative, which, in my opinion, for the protection of the U.S. economy, for the protection of its people, better for a couple of qualified homeowners who actually will pay their debts and actually will honor their home mortgages and contribute to the integrity of the U.S. economy, the support of the U.S. home ownership market. I would rather see a small percentage of those people squeezed out, and they have to rent, than error on the other side where a couple of people get in who shouldn't. Because at the end of the day, the housing market isn't doing much. So with the exception of the tax shelter, and with the exception of the rare individual who has all the credentials to purchase or to buy and qualify, and is interested in buying a house on a 30-year fix and staying there for the next 10, 12, 15 years, the time frame with which I think it's reasonable to allow for the market to correct itself and then start to experience its recovery, so you actually gain equity, you own the home. It's a rare combination. So I would rather see her be exposed to a rental market or have to get creative financing, owner carrybacks, lease options, things like that, because lending practices are overly restrictive, than be in a position where we're at risk to have more people get into homes who don't deserve, who shouldn't be. I wouldn't say necessarily don't deserve it, but who end up in default. That's my opinion on it.
I get that. That makes sense. It totally does, just because of how bad it has gotten and we can't afford. It just seemed weird to me that with all this excellent credit and then you're getting a no. Maybe, okay, my question then is with that, if she had not gotten the car and not started that car with all that excellent credit, then they would have said yes, right?
I don't know, but what's clear is that she doesn't know. So my point is, maybe an observation I'm hearing is, my opinion was based on what should be done in the country, right? Who knows if that's true? But in this particular instance, what I'm hearing is that she was left with a no and no idea, right? So there's plenty of people who apply for home loans with me, and my motto is that I don't turn anybody down. I tell them exactly what it's going to take to qualify. And most of the time what it takes, a turn down is something like, well, you can't qualify for a purchase because you only have 5% down or 10% down. Well, rather than saying that, why not say, well, you can't qualify for a purchase until you have 55% down, or your debt to income ratio looks like this. In other words, you just purchased, if this is the case, right? You just took on a $300 car payment and a $120 a month credit card payment. So you need to figure out a way to earn and pay taxes on another $420, the 300 plus the 120, or you need to find a way to pay these off, and then you'll qualify. So she wasn't left with, here's what it's good. You're a no for now.
Right.
Or you're a no according to the condition that you're requesting. She wasn't left with a clear understanding. She wasn't educated. She wasn't informed. She keeps going back. She's applied 5 times.
Yeah, seriously, it's a little strange, and that makes perfect sense. I know that people watching too, that's very informative. What this show is all about is educating you and just all of us knowing more than we did before. And so it's such a blessing that we have this, and we're presenting excellent information. Leeron is answering questions that are very specific to the times that we're in right now, and honestly, like we spoke of in the previous session, the owning a home is like one of the biggest things that anyone, it's the American dream. It's the most important thing that you'll do, the biggest purchase that you'll make. So, but prices, another side note here, kind of similar. It still relates, I believe.
Sure.
Prices of houses are less, but banks are still restrictive in their lending. So I guess just if you would maybe just, again, it's sort of similar to what you already said, but just explain, if you would, the parameters of this situation and how long will they remain this strict?
Yeah, well, the prices being low attracts buyers, not banks. Actually, prices being low is unattractive to banks because they make money based on the total amount that they have lent out. And if prices are going down and homes are becoming more and more affordable, that's good for the homeowner, and it's good from the bank's perspective because as homes reach a point of lowest point of affordability, eventually more and more people can qualify for home loans, even under restricted parameters. But what's important is that there's no correlate between, houses are really affordable now, so shouldn't banks be willing to lend more? It's more like it so happens that people who typically were restricted by the house they could buy because they could only qualify for a smaller loan amount. Oh, I can only qualify for $150,000. You can't buy anything for $150,000. Now you can. So that's the only impact that I can see, kind of in the lens of the conversation we're having.
Right, exactly. Well, this is all we have time for today, but thank you so much for watching. Again, this show is called Does My Bank Still Love Me? And from our house to yours, happy Thanksgiving. Watch again soon. We'll see you later.